I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Terberri is here. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Appreciate you coming on. Folks, we've had a time trying to get this thing going. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, everyone. My name is Terberri, or Terberri Solaris. I use she and they pronouns, former teddy bear princess from the Kingdom of Solaris. I am a variety streamer that does indie games, Nintendo games, Love and D Space. Yes, I am a proud Love and D Space girly, as well as Otome games, and sometimes Neopets for, the throwback classics.
Oh, geez.
That you can find me doing.
Neopets. Now, there you go run the gamut, don't you, on those games?
Yep, that's why I call myself a variety streamer.
Yeah, you can't get much more variety than that. You're going 3 dimensions variety with those streams. When did you get started with it?
With streaming, it was back in 2021, pandemic, right?
Yeah.
But really with VTuber, I started off as a PNG, and I had it actually in my profile, actually, just because I forget myself, honestly. Because, best way I had to do is just encapsulate it. But it was, I believe, in 2020 or 20... My VTuber arc started in August 14, 2023.
Okay.
And when I actually was very serious about it.
Yeah, when you just decided to put the nose to the grindstone with it a little bit. And
yeah.
So you had been off and on with it before, doing different things?
So I got the model actually in May of that year. I was like, okay, at first I asked my friend, because she was like, oh, I'm looking to I was like, oh, I see VTubers. And I was like, that looks cool. It looks comfy, so I don't have to dress up for the camera, because fun fact, I was a flesh tuber back then.
Yeah.
Still do hybrid stuff actually,
yeah.
Though. But mainly 95% of my content is just VTubing stuff. Probably more like 90, because I do cooking streams actually, and it's kind of fun to just be able to cook and be able to show little skill sets in there where sometimes I struggle. And but no, I was on and off for the most part. Because I had quite a bit of life stuff that happened in between, whether it be moving, getting married, moving again, because that's where I actually got a chance to buy a house, actually.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, congratulations on that in this economy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's weird to say in my mid 30s, I am a homeowner in in a very fairly price expensive state too.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. So
you had all that stuff going on, so you finally got enough time to put your concentration on it, and you jumped full in. So how long? Why are you doing it? Is it something that did you enjoy watching VTubers before and decided that you wanted to give it a shot?
Fun fact, I actually didn't really watch VTubers as much. The only VTuber I knew back in the day was Iron Mouse.
Oh,
and I remember the words vividly of her collabing with Sea Dog, because I'm a really big trash taste consumer. And so basically the words that she said, that is when you're VTubing, it's kind of like you have a superhero outfit on. And so I was just like, oh, that's cool. It didn't really register until now it does sink in with it.
Yeah.
Because you kind of get to live out your fantasies. For me, I am such a big Otome isekai consumer. So reading a lot of manga manhwa in that genre. And that's kind of what brought me to what my model design is.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm kind of the VTuber that wasn't into VTubers really, other than, and still just really checking out more of my friends and all that stuff, which is just amazing to see how they grow and just kind of hang out with them in this sense.
Well, in the meantime, it kind of grabbed you, even if you didn't grab it.
I know, but it's really fun because it's having different expressions, having different outfits, be able to create stories about it, lore that I don't get to have in IRL. IRL, I do a lot more administrative work, and being able to go tap in more of my creative outlet is just such a great feeling.
That would be great. Some great resumes to put out there, though.
Agree.
Yeah, it'd be a lot more fun than I grew up in this town and I went to school and no, I was a captain on a spaceship. That would be
Hmm.
much better, much more. Of course, if you're depends on what you're interviewing for too. Um, the
Mm-mm.
the concept for what you got going on uh, is was this was Barry a character that you had always thought about, or was it a spur of the moment, or did you kind of fall into her?
Ah, Berry. So Terberri Solaris, the way how it kind of came about. So initially I just was like, let me just go the cozy route, not like too complicated with it, just going calling myself a hybrid, half human, half teddy bear.
Hmm.
And that is like the initial design that I had, with like the blue hair that I know some people like miss, but I became more obsessed with green, and so that's where the green hair kind of comes in.
Yes.
As someone who actually has IRL green hair now too.
Hey, that's
um,
perfectly fine by me.
Yes, like I just love vivid hair colors, and so
Yeah.
that's kind of where it just comes from.
Yeah.
But like it just kind of built over time, like kind of that snowball, where it was still back then in like in 2023, I would say was very still into reading Otome Isekais. Like I've read 70 plus series, probably it's like 75 plus series now,
Yeah.
and there's a lot still continuing. Like that is something like I could nerd out, talk about all day, and I'm so happy that super tangent like that I could do tier lists on actually like
Yeah.
different aspects about it. um but really back to the character and the lore, it's just more or less just a built upon, so it just started with the hybrid, and then just kind of integrating like how could I integrate the isekai aspect or
Yeah.
like the Otome Isekai that I love and adore into
Yeah.
the fantasy of Terberri.
Yeah.
And so rather than calling myself a straight princess, why don't I just say like, oh, the princess got isekai to Earth and now is doing the stream thing and being an admin bear as well too.
So, how did the Kuma Collective start?
Yeah, so Kuma Collective. That was around 2023. Like around like November, like beginning November, late October. Essentially, there was a call out for a server called the Bear Den, and essentially from there, I was there like had a collab chat, and some of my head was just like, oh, how would it be funny to like get some bears streamers together to do Thankmas, because I did Thankmas the year before,
Yeah.
where fortunately I raised like $500 on my own,
Whoa.
and then that year in 2023 I did a call out with the team because I was like, oh, it'd be cool to have a stream team, why not?
Yeah.
And four other bears stepped up, Sucre's Collision,
Mm-hmm.
Icy Bone Shredder,
Mhm.
Jiro, and Numi Kuma.
Cool.
Like more or less they said like, hey, I'm interested. Two of them didn't realize that we're gonna actually be doing a whole streamathon for like a full month. And basically that's just how it founded. They were like, oh, I'm interested, and they came along with the journey with my really bad ideas of charity punishments like calyx or
Yeah.
eating the most sour candy that you can eat in the market.
Oh. Ouch.
What else did we do? I took pies to the face for charity.
Well, that's good and bad. I mean, you do get to taste the pies. Just what type
That's
of pie?
true.
Yeah.
A whipped cream pie, just a simple whipped cream pie.
Well, I mean, you
Yeah.
you kind of joke about my bad day, but it was so bad it worked.
Oh yeah, no. Like that year we raised $1,169.
Ooh.
Yes, I know, nice.
That is
In
nice.
2023.
That is great.
And then let me see what we did this year. Like we did it again. So this was our second year as Kumiko doing it as a team. And yeah, we just been a bear group that just kind of cares and wants to do a little bit more with the platform that we have to like raise funds.
Well, I mean, that is something that is very unique to this medium, isn't it? I mean, you just make a call and a bunch of people that you don't really know, but just happen to all be bear types on their models, get together and do something really good. I mean, where are you going to find that anywhere?
I know. And I adore them. Like they're like one of the closest homies that I could ever ask for streaming. Like I know we got to do a meetup. I got to meet actually all the bears. Actually, I got to meet all Kumiko in person at this point.
Yeah.
And if we're ever in the same area, we reach out and try to hang out.
Oh.
And so it's really nice to have the friendships within VTubing, which I never thought I would get out of this hobby of streaming, to be honest.
Well, I mean, let's face it, you weren't really looking all that much to get into it.
Oh yeah, no, like I only started streaming because like I was required to for like a community event.
Yeah. And
I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just stream. And then I literally didn't stream after that. The year after that, I was like, okay, let me push for affiliate.
Yeah.
So 2021, I was like, okay, let me try. 2022, I was like, okay, let me push for affiliate. I got it. And then once again, after Thankmas, I just dropped it. And then 2023 was where I really kicked it off, where I was consistent about it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to hear all folks' different reasons and stories and how they get involved with it. But there are a few folks like yourself that kind of trip and fall into it.
Yes,
that's also hard. Yeah, that's also fun. I mean, obviously, just hearing you talk about it, you can hear how much you enjoy it, and it's become something that you look forward to. That's really obvious by now. What would you be doing with your energy if you didn't have it?
Probably seeing my friends more. My friends wonder if I'm alive half the time, and I'm like, you can find me on Twitch.
That's right.
Most of the time. I kind of have disappeared that way socially. I'm not gonna lie. As like I have investments of my own streams as well as like my other friends' streams. Like that's where I'm at like all the time, is watching other people's streams. That's where it has been. But if I wasn't like doing streaming or didn't fall into streaming, I don't know if I'd be gaming as much, to be honest, either. Like that's what also ticked it off, was like, oh, like I could game more and I could work with dev companies and indie dev companies and like highlight their games and have fun with it too.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Well,
probably cooking more. I would say. Well,
I mean, that's what I want to talk about too, about the cooking streams that you've been talking about. But here you kind of bring a almost a businessy aspect to it, while still enjoying yourself. You know, getting involved with indie developers and highlighting their games. But it doesn't seem like you've lost any joy while doing that.
I'm very picky.
Yeah.
I will say, but I'm willing to stream.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's good. I mean, I hear people try to do that sort of thing, and they kind of start losing the fun part of it, and it starts becoming a job. And that little twist of a knob does make a little bit of difference. But it sounds like that's not a problem with you.
Yeah. For me, I pick what I choose. Like, my community knows it. I even give them the option, like, tell me what you want me to do. And like, if I leave the option, like, let Barry choose, that ends up being the selected option. And I'm like, okay, y'all. I appreciate how y'all understand how the community runs. But yeah, no, it's just like I know my bounds and limits. Like, you're not, if I play, like, I know there's always like call outs like, oh, playing Fortnite, or I'm trying to think what's another one that's like another one that they ask you to play. Like FPSs. Like, I have no talent and no skill. I will just be so miserable. And so why would I take a FPS game?
Right.
Other than like Crab Champions and like Deep Rock Galactica.
Yeah.
And put myself into complete misery and not represent the game the best that I could.
That's right.
And so I just do my best to just say no at that point and just go like, nope, hard no.
in a 1 hour stream, you could die 45 times.
Oh God, I would just cry. I don't play any PvP games. Like, if you go on my channel, like, I don't play any PvP games because that one time I got flamed on League of Legends.
Oh, no.
When I ulted the wrong way on Sona, and I got flamed on, and I never touched PvP games ever again.
That was
no joke.
That was really getting burnt there.
Oh yeah, no, the trauma seeds deep in that. Where I'm like, I'm good, and then it's just like in my head, like it's. I know I have very kind people around me who would be very patient.
Yeah.
But it's just like me mentally about it, where it's like I'm gonna beat myself up about it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, best to just avoid.
Yeah.
Save everyone the hassle.
I mean, it's like I played Little League 100 years ago, but I still remember the fly ball I dropped. It caused us to lose. It's not even this century, but I still remember it.
Like, it wasn't even a ranked game, I think. It was just like a random game that we got put in. And then I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I quit. Did not, I should have deleted that league account probably still exists, but I'm like, I should not, I'm never touching it.
So when you do the cooking stuff, is that hand cam from above, or how do you put that together?
It's multiple cams, actually. So there is one that's straight at me. So yes, it becomes where Blush Terberri comes out. I have done it usually when I'm cosplaying, though, just kind of making it fun a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Whether it be my model, well, it's been mainly my models that I have done it. Yeah, as my model design.
Yeah.
Both the classic PNG and like the current design. So I typically do that just to help a little bit with the immersion. But it's camera actually face on me, and then a camera, like another angle on the side where you actually see me chop, cook, saute, and like the most recent one was just like rolling Filipino egg rolls or lumpia. And so while just yapping essentially.
Oh, okay. Filipino egg rolls. What's the difference? What's the big thing about that? How do you even put that together?
Like I guess like when you compare it to like other egg rolls, there's like different styles too with the Filipino egg rolls. Like I believe there's 4 main ones. Hopefully my other Filipinos don't kill me for forgetting one. But I know there's a fresh style. There's a fresh style. There's the meat-based one, which is Shanghai Lumpia. There's the gulaman, which is like the vegetarian one. And then there's Turon, which is like more of the sweet one. And so I did more of like the meat style. So kind of like, it's if you think about it, and if you really want to break it down, it's kind of like a meatball wrapped in like in a wrapper essentially. But I think it's just the ingredients that it's used, and then also the different techniques that go into it that makes it different, I would say, than like what you think like a Chinese egg roll and all that stuff. Like the wrapper is different too.
Yeah. What's in the wrapper?
The wrapper is, I'm not going to lie, I buy that. But what's in the filling wise, the style that I made on stream was, I go, because typically it's made with pork and shrimp, but I went the beef route because that's just how I grew up eating it.
Yeah.
Beef, onions, carrots, soy sauce, white pepper, black pepper, salt, really. It's actually very simple. It just takes time.
That sounds pretty darn good. I mean, do you...
Oh, yeah.
Do you eat them straight up, or do you dip them in or use a sauce with them?
You could do either. I do. It depends how I feel. If I have it, then the sweet chili sauce is really good. Otherwise, the way how I grew up eating it was more or less like vinegar and soy sauce, like a dark Filipino soy sauce.
Okay.
And yes, there is a difference.
Yeah.
With the different types of soy sauces.
Yeah, there is definitely a difference in different types. You just go to restaurants and find that from one restaurant to the other. There's a difference to that sort of thing, but that's cool. I mean, so you're confident enough to get out in front of the camera with these. You know, I'd never be able to be confident enough to perform like that in front of a camera. Have you been able to? Have you always had that kind of confidence to be able to do that?
No. No.
And that was our interview. Thank you very much.
As I was like. I will say it fostered in high school because I didn't go to a quote unquote standard high school. Like my high school made you practice presentations. Like that was half your grade, was like presenting and doing project based. Which is a very unique experience compared to where I know if I went to more of a standard high school, it would have been more of like AP project or AP classes or working like doing that type of thing. But no, my high school was very unique where we did presentations and basically, we also had to practice giving feedback too, where it's like give commendations and recommendations.
Wow.
And so, like I would say the training kind of happened early with like high school where it's like, okay, I got to talk in front of people. Do I like it still? Like, I think coming up to it is where the nerves happen. But like once the camera's on or like once like it's happening, you just got to roll with it. More or less, you're going to probably hear me laughing through my mistakes and also probably just owning up to it.
Yeah. Well, if it's live, you can't. It's very tough to not own up to it when it's live.
Oh yeah, no. The people are ready for that clip button. I do have an easy clip command where people will just do exclamation mark clip, and it's clipped, and I'm just like, why do you have receipts? You don't need receipts right now.
Well, I mean, so if you had that through school, how did you cheat? Because I wouldn't have been able to cheat with something like that.
I don't think you could. You just kind of you could just say words and nonsense, but the teachers would probably call you out on it. Or like when you get asked in the question segment, because like with the presentations, not only do you present, you also are like part of your grade is to also ask questions. So you're it's forced participation.
Wow. I mean, I didn't have anything like that until college. Of course, that was a million years ago, but still, it was, and that's interesting. I mean, you're kind of set up for a business type format for yourself already with that, weren't you?
Yep, there was the project of doing a business proposal too, and like putting a pitch out there. I'm like, okay, when you're like a high schooler and you had no idea. So, it was very unique, I will say. So, but I really enjoyed it.
So when you did something like that, and you did you get graded on the critiquing and the feedback too, or did you?
I think they just checked it. It was just more of a check mark. I think unless it was like really like you are trying bare minimum, it was more or less a check mark saying like, okay, that you did it, and so that you won't get docked down from your grade from that.
Ask a question. How'd you choose that color? And then you sit back down and not pay attention to the rest of the class. Okay, they showed up. But I can imagine that it could get pretty competitive in that sort of situation. Did you ever find that to be competitive?
Not competitive per se, because they did things where they put you in uncomfortable situations where it's like, not sure if you ever had an experience where like you had a project and like you had to break down credit, and so you had to distribute the grade amongst the people. Ooh. Like you could go even split, or you could go have the person who's like, oh, I actually did more work, and so now I want more credit, so I'm going to take from X person.
Wow.
Like that was another experience. Like I'm not going to lie, I actually just remember that till now. That actually was blocked until now.
Oh, wow. That's
like a realistic situation.
It is, but brutal for a kid. Whoa.
Yeah. Where you're like, most of the time we just split it where it's like, okay, we did an even amount of work, but with those super overachievers, I was not one. I was like, let me get my credit and be good.
Oh man. We had a business, what we call that in college was a business speaking class. Mm-hmm. And our instructor was very much into the gladiator style of grading. And he's pitting everybody against each other. So thankfully I didn't know any of the other people personally.
Mm-hmm. I think that's how it is. It's like also it's not personal and all that stuff. It's more or less what did you put in effort wise and all that stuff too.
Oh, we had to do interviews. We had to do all this sort of thing. And one poor fella handed me I was supposed to do the interview for him, and he wasn't particularly good in the class. Anyway, he hands me a cover sheet, and it's for being a reporter in New York, in New York, a small New York area newspaper in the west part of New York. So I look at the paper and I hand it back to him, and I said, "Our reporters are going to have to do editing for themselves. We aren't able to afford editors." I said, "Your cover letter has 3 typos that I can see. So I'd like to test you here while we're doing the interview. If you can find those typos, I'd appreciate it." And then we went on from there, and he was absolutely floored. He couldn't say anything hardly the rest of the interview. He goes, "Why did you do that?" I go, "I want an A." And I got an A.
You have standards. And you enforced it and expectations.
I had my knife out, and he was thoroughly filleted. That's why the instructor liked me.
Nice. Yes. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I can imagine for somebody even younger than that, it'd be really tough to do. I mean, did you build up a tolerance for that sort of thing, or did you just kind of get used to it?
You just got used to it because that was just the environment that you're in, and it helps that like everyone else is going through it, and it's not just yourself, and so it's kind of like a subculture of basically of that high school. Like it is a very unique experience. It
is, but it prepares you for a lot of different things too.
Oh yeah,
and I imagine it kind of prepares you for this in a way because you are making a presentation of sorts to folks on that. I mean, you're not seeing them in person, but they're people from all over the world, all over the planet, possibly, and you've got to throw all that aside and still give your presentation. Well,
Yep.
I salute you for going through that.
Thank you. I don't think I had a choice because that was the high school I was
Yeah,
put in.
still though, I mean that's rough stuff. And so was it easy for you when you did turn the mic on for this?
No, because like when you start off VTubing or like just streaming in general, you got to get used to not really having anyone. Like I know I kind of force like my IRL friends, like, please tune in on my streams, please tune in my streams.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just more or less, once I actually became a VTuber and started getting engaged in like platform, like social media platforms and saying I'm VTubing
Yeah.
and getting into collabs, it got a lot easier, I
Yeah.
will say.
Yeah.
But like when it's solo gaming, I enjoy it now, or I have more comfort enjoying it now that I have a community.
Yeah.
I will say that'll bounce off of me. But honestly, if they're not even there, I'm just like, heck, I was gonna do this on my own.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying the thoughts
Yeah.
that are just going through my mind.
Whatever pops into my head, no matter how crazy it is coming out. So have you got folks now that are coming back, and are you surprised by that? How does that catch you when you realize that people are coming back for you and your personality?
I ask why. That's the first thing I ask, why. But I appreciate it. Like it's honestly really appreciate it. It's very heartwarming. Like as I'm growing on my platform, both on Twitch and YouTube, and like YouTube, I'm investing doing shorts every Wednesday. Yes, sorry, self promo right there.
That's what we're here for. Promo away.
Yes, like I post shorts every Wednesday at noon on PST time.
Yep.
And like it's just so heartwarming now to see folks who are coming from the YouTube side checking my shorts and like coming to check over on Twitch where it's my main platform. And it's just so heartwarming to see that.
You know, that's a great way. I mean, that's marketing. Marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from the radio era where that's the type of marketing you do, a little advertising. But it sounds like it's worked perfect for you. It's drawing people in to your main business, which is the Twitch.
Yes.
Well,
wow to me. I'm just like, oh my God, like it was the second time that it happened. And like, I just cherish those because it's just like, you took the time out of your day. And like, this is like to any of my viewers, like you took the time out of your day, whether to say hi, have me as a second, have me as a monitor on your tab, or second screen, or just like saying hi, dropping in, and just hanging out with me.
Yeah.
And it's just like really nice to have that feeling.
Yeah.
Or like hanging out with me because I'm hanging out with another cool VTuber essentially, or another streamer.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of collabs.
Yeah.
Well, a lot.
Well, that's good. I mean, if you're very, very easy to get along with this.
Aww.
I mean, it very, very wonderful to talk with. I mean, it's I can't imagine anybody not enjoying being talking with you over a period of time. And so have you found situations where it's not so hot on your end?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
With continue, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, like doing 300 plus collabs, you're gonna have a couple bad collabs in there. Like I've done so many, and like that's sometimes within the day and all that stuff, or like over the time. Like I've done 300 plus at this point.
Wow.
With some repeats as well. When we emphasize with repeats in there, with some people like it's a consistent group and we're coming back together for X game or something like that, or like hey, like we're doing X activity, and so we're gonna hang out on the same stream. You're gonna have bad collabs. Mm-hmm. And when it happens, like it depends. Like if it's like a little bit like at first, I think when I first had that experience happen, I stuck through it. Mm-hmm. And just hope for it to end sooner. Nowadays, I will go, okay, what was the agreed time? I would try to recap the details of our stream thing. Like, what was our agreed time? What are we doing? Okay, once the time cap hits, I'm willing to bounce then.
Yeah.
So kind of just having my boundaries in that sense. So it's like more or less just preserving the experience for both myself as well as like the viewers as well too, where it's like, yeah, this is not good and I don't want to have that for others. And so, you know, you just do what you need to do. It's like, hey, like you find that good exit point where it's like, okay, like that time cap is a good exit point, or like going like, okay, people energy is down, or like even my energy is down. It's okay to go like, I need to go. Yeah. Like I think people don't know about that with bad collabs, that you can do that and that you have that option. Like you have autonomy as a streamer to make choices to leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
and like leave gracefully versus like, oh, I'm just going to leave immediately. It's like, no, okay, hey, the hour mark is here. Perfect.
Just bloop right out.
Yeah, but I can imagine some people like just bouncing and just leaving the Discord call, and I'm like, that feels worse, and it doesn't feel like a natural transition versus like, okay, this is our dedicated time slot, or oh, ads are about to run, so hey, this is probably a good time for me to leave. My energy is a little bit lower and all that stuff. Like there are ways how to exit a collab gracefully, I would say.
Well, it's not only for you and your listeners, but it's also for them too, because if it's not working, you've got another whole person's channel and chat along with you, and why drag them in too at this point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I also understand being in a society where it's so conflict is hard and like scary about it, that it's just like, how do you do that while self-preserving yourself?
Right.
And so,
and
it's also just doing mental check-ins with yourself about it too. It's like, oh, am I having fun? Or am I checking the timer and going like, okay, when is this done? Like your body speaks to you. It's just a matter of whether you listen to it or not.
Oh, mine screams at me. every morning during this cold weather, it's like you sure you want to get up? Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. But that's a great way to look at these things, and the folks think I've done a lot of these interviews now, and like, boy, you must do a lot of them. Now just think of what Barry's done here with 300 some collaborations. I mean, that's a lot of putting stuff together over the period of time you've been doing this. Even if it's the same person over and over, there's scheduling conflicts, there's last minute things to go through. Whether anybody else is giving you credit for it, I'll give you credit for it. That's a lot of work.
Aww,
that is a lot of work.
And things happen, and that's where you have to be okay with it versus like not letting up like those bad collabs like take out the opportunities for future ones and such. I will say I'm usually the person who goes to check in, going like, okay, what are your boundaries and expectations and all that stuff? Like, hey, do we need to know about anything community wise? Or hey, do we need to get X? When do you need to go and all that stuff? Thanks for letting me know. And then also then you just have your backups then. You just have backup stuff ready to go.
Plus you never know the reason. And there's so many reasons. It could just be everybody puts out a great effort and it just doesn't work.
Yep.
I mean, there's no problem. Or maybe one or two or both of you or however many are having a bad day. It just doesn't work. Or maybe your internet dies.
Yep, that is real. There's so many external factors that you cannot control, and you can't just let that tarnish. I think when a collaborator's behavior becomes patterns that you see or behaviors that are repetitive and things, it's like, okay, maybe we don't do this and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of meaning where like what your collaborators are willing to do. Like you will never pull me into I'm trying to think of it'll be hard, really, really hard to pull me into a Marvel Rivals like collab. Really, really, really hard. Like at that point, like I better be reaching my goal for charity that I am playing an FPS game, because I am going to be probably crying and stressing out the whole time. And
so scarred.
Yes. But like it's just like I would say, like, it's just like, what are your boundaries of what you're wanting to do and what your collaborators are willing to do, and it's kind of like meeting at that point too.
Is there any point that you're not smiling?
Not smiling? When I'm tired.
Because I think you smiled this entire interview. It sounds like it. And that's so great to be able to do that, and it's very welcoming. And I can't imagine anybody tuning in and tuning out to any of your streams with a presentation and attitude like that. It really does seem like, whether you knew it or not, this was kind of meant for you.
Be a streamer. I think there's moments where it's like I've watched other streamers and I go like, I think I could do this. I could do this. I can't display skill, but I could display some personality. And that's what I have, and that's why I call myself a struggle gamer.
Well, I'm gonna try and siphon off some of that personality to keep my old bones going.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. Like I will say I'm 30 plus. I don't know how I have this energy. Hubby asked like, how do I also have this energy? I don't know. It only goes away when I don't sleep enough, essentially, and even that's very limited.
Yeah. Oh, oh, I know how that goes. I married a red-headed Hoosier on purpose, and yeah, I may be my age now, but I look 25 years older. Just hang on for the ride, boy. But it's so much fun to talk with you, and I'm glad we were able to get everything together and get this going because folks need to know about what you've got going on, and they're going to enjoy themselves immensely if they come see one of Barry's streams or hits off to the YouTube channel. We're going to have all the links in the description, and please, once you get the stuff going for whatever you're going up next with the collaborations for the charities and such, let me know so we can promote it up for you, okay?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think I'm cooking up anything. I am cooking up a couple things. I'm like, I lied to myself. I am cooking up a couple things.
I don't believe that one bit.
Yeah, I'm just like, wait a second. I am cooking up. Like, if folks are into Epic, Epic the musical, that is something that I'm kind of putting together a little bit.
Okay.
At least a little bit of a peek on that.
Okay.
And then also a potential new video series that I wanted to do for my long form formats, as I've been avoiding that because I've been scared not being consistent. On the YouTubes.
Well, come on for a second round so we can talk about that. Okay.
Oh, totally. If you have the time, I will be glad to come on. We will just have to find something.
I will make the time for you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Eric. Thank you so much for coming on. And again, we'll get you on again real soon. We'll talk about that and imagine a whole bunch more stuff you got planned because I want to see what you got.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.